Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be breaking down the teaser trailer for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which actually is just now going to be called Supergirl, it looks like. But just before we get into things, this is going to be a very hard breakdown, very different than what we usually do on the channel. And that's just because, like I said in the trailer reaction yesterday, uh, this is a very direct copy and kind of like adaptation of the comic book. So it's going to be hard to break down. And a lot of the, like, even at the end of the reaction yesterday, I said it's very different than what I suspected. Like, I've read about probably half of the book, maybe a little bit over half. Um, and it's very colorful, a lot of different planets, a lot of different crazy stuff going on. This obviously is a teaser trailer, so we'll have to wait and see for another trailer and as we get closer to the movie's release date. But a lot of these scenes seem very just like they're at the same place or kind of like the same lighting and stuff, so it's hard to make out what planet they're on. I'm sure once the movie comes out, we'll realize that a lot of these scenes were on different planets, but I think they're saving all the big skeptical stuff and all the crazy stuff for the movie, or at least for later trailers. So it's kind of hard to piece together the ordering of this. And most breakdowns for trailers, I try doing it so we can get a good idea of it. But also, I just think this will be a good video to talk about like what happens in the story, how they're going to change it to adapt and fit the DC universe we're in right now, but also like what could stay the same and everything. So with all that being said, let's get into it. Okay, we kick things off with Crypto in Supergirl's room, or wherever they're living at right now. They're here, and Crypto knocks down a bottle of alcohol. He also pees on a newspaper, which is obviously a Daily Planet newspaper. The title seems to say Superman saves town from a nuclear reactor explosion. Supergirl's also on the corner, if you see, and it talks about her just saving cats, which is kind of funny because, I mean, it shows the point. Like, Superman he wants to be a hero. Supergirl in this stage in her life and in this movie, it seems like she's going to not really want to be a hero. And I wouldn't even say that's just like a prediction. It's just kind of like confirmed, and it's a fact. I mean, I think that Millie Alcock, James Gunn, I think they've both talked about it. I think the story, which it's obviously adapted from, talks about it. I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. Even the ending of Superman. And speaking about the ending of Superman, that's where we last saw Supergirl. Actually, it's not. We saw her in Peacemaker. But in the actual timeline, it was the last time we saw her, because the Peacemaker stuff was obviously flashbacks. Anyways, so Supergirl is a hero on Earth, and she doesn't really want to be. I'm sure she's willing to be, but she doesn't really want to be like Clark wants to be. And that's why she was drunk at the end of the last movie, and it's going to be very interesting to see more of that in this movie. This apartment or wherever she's living at is in outer space because all the text on these things in this room are in a different language. But I'm not sure where she's staying. Is it like a hotel in outer space? Is it a ship? Where is it? I have no idea. But we do know that. We then go to Supergirl at a bus stop, it looks like. Obviously, bus stop in outer space, not on Earth. I don't know if we're going to go to Earth at all in this movie. I'm pretty sure it was confirmed that we will at least once, and I'm pretty sure that's probably just going to be like the Fortress of Solitude, because we know Superman is going to appear in the movie now. So I think what they're going to do is kind of just be the ending, how she appeared at the end of his movie. I think he's going to appear at the end of her movie, and we'll talk about that towards the end of the video. Okay, from here we see Supergirl partying, and she basically says that it's her 23rd birthday. This is a key difference from the comics because it is her 21st birthday in the comics. So she's a little bit older. I don't know if that's just a coincidence or if there's a reasoning why, but it is the difference. So I thought it'd just be interesting to point that out. She also really says that there's not really a high bar. Like, she's going to make this 23rd year the best, but it's not really a high bar because she really has a tragic life, and that just kind of hints at everything that we're going to learn in this movie that she's gone through. James Gunn also said that this movie is going to be darker than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is honestly a crazy feat. I don't know if I believe it, but we'll see. So this clearly isn't a bar, but Supergirl goes to bars all over the place, so this being a bar doesn't give us a whole lot of information, which, like I'm saying, like, it's going to be very hard to depict this trailer and dissect it. We then go to a different scene where it's planet Krypton. And in the comic, they actually make up that force field that you see, and they protect the city, Argo City. That's the planet or city that Supergirl and her family are in. So we're going to get flashbacks to that, obviously. I'm very excited. That might be the number one thing I'm most excited for in this movie. We see quick shots of Ruthie, and we see like a Kryptonian funeral too. We see Supergirl scream out in outer space. Obviously, we don't know the context behind this scream, but it could be a variety of different things. One, I'm thinking maybe she's going to a red sun planet or something, or she's getting her power back from leaving a red sun planet. Or it could be her watching the destruction of her planet, Krypton. I think it's one of the three things. I just don't know which one. We then see her and Ruthie get held at gunpoint by multiple men and multiple people, by multiple weapons of different colors and variety. And Supergirl basically tells them it's not going to end good for them, and that it's a bad idea to start this fight. We see the sword on Ruthie's back, and that's the sword that plays a pretty interesting and big role in the comic book. So it's good to know that that'll be the same thing here. Just another question I'm having here is, who are these men? Are they hired by Krim, who's the main villain of this movie? I think, are they hired by Lobo? How is this all going to tie together? Maybe they're just mad at Clark. There's a lot of people in the comic book who are just don't like Clark and don't like Superman, and they kind of try taking it out on Supergirl, which isn't a good idea. But yeah, we still don't really know the context of that, which is kind of interesting. From here, we just get a bunch of action shots. I'm sure she's fighting these same people. We get a shot of Krim, and he's like in a fiery house or whatever. I think this is when he kills Ruthie's father, which is basically kicks off the whole story. And then we see a shot of Ruthie and Supergirl, which they seem to be like on that bus or whatever. And yeah, the reason why they need the transportation is obviously because she's drunk and goes to Red Sun planet, so her powers are not there. On some planets are there, on some planets are not. So that's also interesting to see in the trailer. Since everything looks similar and it's hard to dissect everything, that could be something that kind of plays into it. A lot of times when you look at trailers, you have to see outfits and the setting and the location, the time of day, like any damage on something, you know what I mean? But in this trailer, it's really hard to see any of that stuff. Luckily, we do get to see her powers, and that plays a big role in the story. So technically, I think we could figure something out there. We see Kara and Ruthie run and jump out of a building, and Ruthie's really not in the trailer a lot. We see a shot of Kara using her laser beams like we just talked about, meaning that I think this is not on a red sun planet, or maybe she just like gets her powers right back. We also see a shot of her crying with Crypto. For those of you who've read the comic, Crypto does get pretty injured in that comic. I don't think he dies. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. But even if he does die in the comic, he will probably not die in the movie. I think Crypto's just too fan favorite of a character for them to kill off, and I don't think it's necessary. We then see Supergirl crawling on the ground. I'm pretty sure this is probably after she gets hit or something. It looks like she's kind of drained of her powers. So maybe she's on a green sun planet. That has a big role in the comic that this is based off of. But who knows? We didn't get our first shot at Lobo. Obviously, he's going to be one of these like big, interesting pieces of this movie. So they're not going to show him off too much. But we did see him a little bit. And the big question I had, even after seeing this initially, is what is like the hierarchy of this? Is Lobo paid off and hired by Krim, or is Krim paid and like hired by Lobo? What's the context? Is there just going to be a bounty on Supergirl by like space police or whatever. Who knows what's happening here? But I do think it's interesting because Lobo lost his planet. He's the last survivor of his race and his kind, and he's very similar to Clark and Kara in a way. So I think he could honestly be very useful to like helping her, but I don't know. I think his main goal here is to be a physical threat for Supergirl because Krim obviously isn't a physical threat. He's more so just like the whole comic is just them finding him and then stopping him and then basically them learning their character arcs through their journey of finding him. But in a movie, I understand you need more of a physical threat and more action to keep audiences engaged. And maybe that's what Lobo's role in this movie is, but who knows? We then see Supergirl flying up into the atmosphere. Like I said before, this could be her getting powered up like to the sun or something. I'm not too entirely sure. And then we see her in the sky. Speaking of the sun is right behind her. So this is probably the most powerful we've seen her in this whole trailer yet. And you just get a crazy nice action shot, which kind of ends the trailer. She spins this little turret around, I think, and just hits a bunch of people. These are like those space pirates or mercenaries that we've been talking about the whole time. And yeah. So yeah, a lot of question marks, but I think the trailer overall was really interesting and really good. So let's talk about the stuff that we learned. Like I said, obviously we know Superman's gonna be in it, and we also learned they like filmed like a whole entire scene, where it was just spoken in their Kryptonian language, and that's honestly really interesting. I don't know what the context behind that is, of course, but I'm really excited to see like more context of like, are Clark's parents really bad? We know the message is real. It wasn't AI. It wasn't fake or anything. It was real, but just because Clark's parents are bad does not mean all Kryptonians are bad. I think that was a message there. And also, we don't really know if, like, maybe Clark's parents weren't bad. And maybe we know Brainiac's going to be the villain of Man of Tomorrow, which comes out the year after this. So maybe he had, like, some role in it. Who knows? But I think we will get more context here, which I'm really excited for that. So what is Kara's arc in this movie? Obviously, she's going to start being drunk, like we seen her at the end of the first Superman movie, and reluctant to be a hero. They've even said she's kind of not an anti-hero. I think they did say anti-hero, but then they rephrased it. She's not like an anti-hero like Deadpool in a way, but she's just like not Superman, you know? And she even has a line in the trailer where she says Clark sees the best in everyone, and sees good in everyone, but she sees the truth in everyone. I think that's a great line, and I think it captures just her so well. Ruthie also asked about, like, how Krypton just died in a day and, like, how it felt, and she's like, no, it didn't die in a day. So that force field in the trailer, they did survive a little bit longer, and that made it even worse for Kara. So it makes sense why Kara is the way she is. A lot of humans bury their guilt and trauma in alcohol and stuff like that too. So she's going to be very interesting, and I think she could be one of the best characters. Remember, they said that she's one of the 4 pillar characters of the DC Universe. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Supergirl. Not Flash, not Aquaman, not Nightwing, not anybody else. They said Supergirl. I think this movie is going to be great because why is she the 4th one? Why is the writer of this movie writing, I think we said it was the Wonder Woman movie and the Teen Titans movie, maybe another one, I can't remember, but yeah. I do think this movie is going to be really special, really good. The comic is really good. So yeah, I'm really excited, and with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.